Good afternoon, Facebook family. I wanted to get on here and address something that I read. My wife shared an article that said that Down syndrome people and people with autism could very well die due to this coronavirus just to save supplies. Now that really got me to really think about this. You're willing to let people with autism and Down syndrome die just to save supplies should they get the coronavirus. What makes them any different than anyone else? Just because they're handicapped, that does not mean that they should be left to perish. What gives us the right to play God? What gives us the right to say that just because they're handicapped, that they deserve to die? It is already bad enough that we have people who feel that if you are mentally challenged, because I won't say the other word, because there is no such thing as that they deserve to be in a group home or an institution and not with their families. It is already bad enough that people don't care enough to look out for one another. But what gives us the right to play God? What gives us the right to say that the rich politician deserves to get treatment for the coronavirus, but yet somebody like my brother who has Down syndrome deserves to die and go to heaven? Because yes, I believe in my heart that the mentally challenged and disabled people, even though they may not have been able to accept Christ verbally, that God knows their heart. God knows that they love Him, and therefore it is by His grace and mercy that they would be able to go to heaven. But what gives us the right to play God? What gives us the right to say that not only the mentally handicapped, but the elderly deserve to be just left by the wayside? What honestly gives us the right to play God and decide who gets participation in receiving treatment? I just don't understand that. I just don't understand. Aaron, my wife shared an article, Aaron, that said that people like my brother who have Down syndrome and autism and the disabled will just be left to fend for themselves, and they will be left for dead. And I just don't understand that. I honestly don't. But I just don't understand that. Because if it was up to me, I feel that they should give everybody treatment. Yes, I know there is limitations to modern medicine, but in the same token, if we were doing the right things and actually keeping the social distance, then the medical field wouldn't have to decide who gets treatment and who doesn't. But in all honesty, we don't know how to social distance ourselves. We don't know how to listen to the government and say, staying in our house. But says no, we feel like that we have to go out in public and be in crowds of more than 10. So therefore, the medical field has come to the conclusion that they now need to say, okay, well, if you're rich, you get corona treatment. If you're mentally challenged, oh, screw you, you can just go on and die for all we care. And I don't think that is right. And I'm sorry that it took us getting to this point where such a pandemic has made us look at exactly how the world is ran, how everything in this world runs, how the richer gets richer and the poorer gets poorer. And now I'm starting to see exactly how the world views people like my brother, who has Down syndrome, who just happens to live in a group home. Now I'm actually starting to really see the true colors of the world. And now I'm actually starting to see that maybe we need a legislation that says that everybody gets the treatment, that if you show the signs for this virus, that you get treatment. I heard about a man who went into the hospital the other day, said he didn't feel good, showed all the signs. They told him, oh, go on to the house, you'll be all right. Yeah, it's just a cold. Couple days ago, this same guy tested positive for the virus because he went over to Louisville and got tested, and then he came back positive. And then my thinking was like, okay, so you went to the hospital, you showed all these signs and symptoms for this virus, but yet they sent you home, and now you have the virus. And had they done the right thing in the first place, you would have never infected some of these people by having to go to the grocery store. I mean, then that is also what gets me, is that there are people who know that they are sick, coughing, hacking, throwing up, that will take themselves to the store to and be willing to infect other people. Because I heard about somebody who went to the Kroger here about a week and a half ago, twice, and they don't know how many people this guy came in contact with. But yeah, you are right, Aaron. It isn't the same from when we were growing up. Because honestly, when we were growing up, I would have never considered putting my brother in an institution. I would have never in my wildest dreams thought that he would ever end up in a group home. And yes, modern medicine has came a long way from where it was when my generation was growing up. But we also have a long way to go until we get health care for all. We have a long way to go until we start thinking with our brains that everybody deserves treatment, and not with our wallets saying that the rich people get treatment and poor people gets to go back home and die. Over at the local homeless shelter here in town, I'll tell you how they're dealing with this. they are not letting their residents go out in public, which I think is a good idea considering the pandemic. But those that show any signs of treatment are put in a tent. And for those of y'all that will see this at a later time and don't know about the weather here in Louisville, Kentucky area, we have a bipolar weather system where one day it's cold, the next day it's hot. And basically what they now is doing is they are putting people who basically spend any time at the shelter, whether it be one night or 2 nights, out in the tent outside. And I have heard that this virus does kill, doesn't make it in the heat. But in the same token, if one person is coughing in this tent because they have cough, chill, fever, and it may not be the flu, and then you have 30 other people in the homeless shelters temperature controlled tent, then you have 30 more people that could possibly get whatever this one person coughing has. In my view, I think that what they should do is, if you show the signs of this coronavirus, they should send you straightway to the hospital. And if you do indeed have this virus, isolate you in a room. Yeah, I understand you cough, smokers have cough off them, but I'm talking about people who have the symptoms of the coronavirus. If you are homeless, and yes, I did hear about this. If you are homeless, what the hospitals do is, if you test positive for this virus, they may or may not keep you in the hospital based on if you have insurance or not. Because I won't say where I heard of that, but I did hear about somebody here in our local area who actually tested positive for this virus, but because they did not have insurance, they were sent on their mighty way. Because they were homeless, they ended up over at the Haven House. Well, I don't know whether they were admitted or not, but I heard that they were actually referred to the Haven House where with this virus. But back to my main point. What gives us the right as people of one true living God to play God, to decide who gets treatment for this virus or any sickness in general, and who doesn't? What gives us the right to say that the mentally challenged don't deserve to live? What gives us the right as a human race to say that even if you don't have the coronavirus and that you have the flu, or you're a former drug addict or alcoholic, that you don't get treatment? I just don't understand. What gives us the right to say, hey, you don't get treatment, you get treatment, you get treatment, you get treatment, but you don't? I just don't understand it. But that's my rant. Have a wonderful day and be blessed.